Okay, let's start. Start the next that webcam here as well. Okay, so we have normal live session today. Yesterday was a bit different stuff, but today just going to play normally. Yeah, I could play in 4-tiled grip here, but the thing is that then I would need to have some of the tables on the other screen, and I don't really like that, so I'm still going to play it like this, that the tables are somewhat overlapped. I think I could make them a little bit larger as well. Oh yeah, I limped here, tried to make small step, but that didn't work. Nine-5 suited still bit too good as default to open fold from the small blind, and when you get that sort of paired flop, it's quite often profitable enough to try to stop even without having much. Okay, so let's open the control window so I can see comments and so on. I'm going to 3-bet a7 suited out of position. And this is actually one of those flops that we can nicely go for. Check call line passively. That way we can have some of the AXs that are not the premium, in a way that our 8 gigger is not beating much or if any of his value range, but in here I'm just going to shove and basically hope that he actually has the ace and might be eager to call still. But unfortunately not. And 2 players calling here on the MTT, and I don't really have much, so just going to check fold. There's five-way pots on the. Well, not going to try bluffing in five-way pot. Someone might still try to trap with the AX. But it looks like some sort of pocket pair probably wins that. Or 6-8. And then we have flush draw here. It's just flat. We also have two players behind who might occasionally be trapping or something like that. And we still get decent pot odds to call here. Not quite direct pot odds to draw, but let's call anyway. And we have jack high flush, so I think we have to raise here. Okay, this looks extremely strong, so I will just call here and hope that we are not beat, but it doesn't really look that great. But luckily he was just making absurdly crazy bluff. But yeah, I think shoving here would start to be quite optimistic. Unless we think that he's busy enough to be like value playing some straight like that here. Well, on the bottom right, it's kind of fine either way. We can see bet small, but the downside is exactly this. Well, let's peel at least one street. And 5 wasn't really the greatest card to see. We still beat like 9-10 type of hand occasionally, but I'm not going to hero call it here anyway. And unfortunately diamond on the MTT, so we are probably going to lose. Or not. Or luckily not. So if you have any comments, questions, talk, whatever is the topic, you can use the YouTube chat. On the bottom left, we could also just check fold, maybe even this one, but it still has some backdoor straight draw possibilities. So personally, I prefer to step as default. But yeah, if he has the 9x, I think even 3x, it's going to be tough to get him to fold. So yeah. Well, straight on the... Nice when you get free turn and hit the gut shot. Well, that was less nice. We have two options here. We can try to pump the river, represent 9x plus and hope that he folds, or we can basically check call. I kind of don't like the option to pump on that spot. Okay, well, we were splitting anyway. Let's go for like 3-bet here on the bottom right. On the bottom left, this is situation that we can consider hero calling in a way that here is busted flush draw. He might have some A high sometimes. Obviously just checking back when he checks back. If we lose, we mainly lose to Jack X here, but I don't think he's folding it ever, pretty much so. And he has to check. I was just thinking that if he has some sort of jack like that, he's not necessarily going to value bet it, so if he bets it, it might be that he's not even value betting Jack X always, at least. And yeah, that 3-bet seemed to work, I suppose. It's a very effective situation in general when you are in bottom 3-betting against late position open raise. You have the position, and if they want to call, they will be out of position, so it's going to usually, depending on the people, some people might even just 4-bet or fold most of the time. But of course we were still relatively deep stacked, so it's nice to have some postal playability. So that type of 7-8 shooter, I think, is some hand that you can mix into 3-betting range some portion of time. This guy makes just min bet, so even though I don't really have much with the A high, I'm still going to call. Well, let's see, but here it shouldn't really hit him either, unless he has like pocket pair hitting. But of course the question is, does he fold AX right away? But we can also double barrel here quite a lot. Well, shoving wouldn't be absurd, but it's not really great either. Well, let's just be nitty and fold. I don't know. All options are quite close. I will just call here on the top right. It's relatively dry flop, so we don't need to protect that much. By calling, we allow him to continue if he happens to have some airball type of stuff. If he has the ace and he's donk betting like that, he's probably happily continuing that. This is again a situation that we beat basically everything, and there are some busted draws. So I'm just going to shove again, hope that the AX will make the call. And if he has weaker than AX, he's often not going to call much of the bets anyway, and he had the ace here. So that was the maximum value. And we allowed him possibility to bluff as well. Well, 7-9 we could shove, but it's not super profitable, so I think I prefer open limping. Try to play small ball. On the top left I have to shove this one. There are 3 limpers. 1/3 to my stack if I get everyone to fold. And 3-betting here, you could also flat. The downside here is that if the villain shoves or 4-bets, it's kind of a tricky situation. And well, I can either check here on the bottom right or go for a small c-bet. Well, I think I check back with the backdoor stuff going on. The thing is that I don't usually get better hands to really fold either by betting, so now we have straight, but getting value is probably going to be pretty tough, but obviously we have to try. This guy is 3xing from small blind, but we definitely have to defend. And it is strong. And I just flat here because if I flat here and hit queen or jack, the chances that it's going to be good enough is a lot higher compared to if I raise here and then hit the queen or jack. And also if I raise and hit 3-bets, I get myself into a pretty stupid situation. And once he checks, I think I can turn the hand into bluff. I have some showdown value, sure, but I don't think it's by huge amount anyway. And let's go for protection bet here on the bottom left. When the flop goes check and the big blind check again, the possibility of AX decreases somewhat at least. If I were a bit deeper on the bottom right, I would tend to limp this one, but it's just 8-9 to big blinds, so I will shove the aces as well. And once again we have the limp fest going on the top left. Button somehow misclicked. Oh yeah, we have suited hand, so with this stack depth this is going to bring some nasty possibilities. For example, hitting this sort of flop, we can't really do much if someone bets overall, unless they make like a really small bet, sort of like that. Suppose we have to call that one. And going to check fold here. 10 wasn't really greatest card. 120. Well, I will fold anyway. Of course we have like 10% chance to improve but it's not going to be enough, and sometimes even if we hit 2 pair or well, trips is often going to be enough, but sometimes even the 2 pair might be not good enough. Okay, we have been 3-betting a lot here on the bottom right table, so this looks like pretty great situation proving. And king 6 suited we have like 8 big blinds, so I think I shove here, but it's going to be like, I'm not really certain, this might be a bit too wide. It shouldn't be horrible, at least. And ace queen obviously is not calling. And for 8 suited we can defend on the upper right. And I think I need to raise this pocket 3s. Of course I have to call against the big blind. But it's still from the cutoff, so I think it's going to be better than open folding. Well, that was lucky for that guy. It's pretty unlikely that pocket 4s is huge favorite here. Yeah, this guy was actually limping. Well, I don't mind the raise, but I should have made it bigger. Bigger once that one guy was limping. Oh, he actually folded. Well, I can't really do anything here. Yeah, against some random player I will be showing that one. It's not going to be in the nice range, I think, but it's still somewhat decent. Of course he calls with the A-high, that's pretty obvious. And pretty crappy flop on the top left. We could make small c-bet, but we also have the hearts, so I think I prefer checking and hoping there is no more overcards coming, at least. And now there is one, but we get to free showdown, so all good. Unfortunately, he didn't make the correct play and shove pre-flop. And this guy min raising. I think this is pretty decent spot to go for the 3-bet shove with the blocker hand. And this is the good side of the hand, that even if he has that sort of hand, we are still going to be flipping. Usually I wouldn't open queen deuce, but seems like the big blind is sitting out, so it's just too good of a situation if that's the case. But he came back because this guy was thinking for the gate. Now he wakes up. Well, loses again. Pocket 10's not that guy's friend, it seems. And pocket 7s I have to shove here. It's a bit scary looking that Villain's min raising with that stack depth, but it's not really something that you should be scared about without actually having the read, and he actually did raise fold, so. And this guy has been making these really small bets 3 streets, so I will call that one as well. I suppose we are losing to some queen x at least, but and I have to call this small blind shove with the pot odds we get, especially with the suited hand. I think we still have too much equity to fold at that point. And ace-3 suited I will be shoving on the top right. And 6-5 will be good enough to shove it here with a lot of equity. It tends to have. Limping would be other option. And I'm going to double barrel on the top left. We still have the gutshot, and king is somewhat of a scare card. If the villain hasn't hit it himself, he might also have just some a high or pocket 8s or something. But yeah, we probably lose here, but I'm not going to triple barrel. 5-7. Okay. That's definitely a hand you want to call from small blind. With sarcastic tone. Oh well, that was unfortunate. Have to fold really good hand like that. That's the power of shoving. I could have been raised at 5-8, but decided to be nitty this time. Oh well. I think if he's shoving as wide in the NAS as he should, this would be like relatively close to break even, I suppose, but I'm not going to call. And on the MTT we would need to get something pretty quickly. I think we can actually try to double barrel here. If he doesn't have pair plus flush draw, it's going to be pretty tough to. And we actually hit the straight, but well, now it's going to be check fold hand pretty much. And it was, wow, that was one loose call. Deuce 8. I was thinking that that sort of hand would be happily folding, but seems like this guy has decided to not fold. We'll go for shove with the 8-9. It's probably going to be a bit outside of the nice range though, but with the antes it shouldn't be totally absurdly bad either. We are one of the smallest stack. And we got the shove, and in great shape, but not off. Well, that was lucky outcome. In the end, was drawing pretty thin with him having 2 pairs and flush draw on the turn. And ace then will be shoved here. And I will just check fold on the heads up here. Well, we don't really have anything on the... I think I actually go for check and let's see what happens. Now we get a lot more equity, so we can go for delayed c-bet here. But unfortunately he doesn't fold, and 7 is pretty bad. Bad card, it's way easier for him to have the 7x than me. On the bottom left in the MTT, if the small blind would shove, I would have called, but well, 3x from here is kind of nasty. Kind of nasty. I think the flop playability is still so good that calling is probably going to be better. That's actually quite interesting. Interesting flop, but once he decides to c-bet almost the pot size, I can't really do anything. I mean, I probably don't have any fold equity, so if he had made some bit more sensible bet size, then I could have shoved, check shoved. Well, luckily I didn't get the chance to shove it here. And 9 queen, I will go with shooter. Now we need to suck out, but we are actually totally alive. Well, let's go for replay. I still have 20 big blind stacks, so some playability. I will go for shove here. We have chance to get some of the better hands to fold probably. Well, this is actually a spot where we could definitely go for raise as well. Well, I don't know if I have fold equity anymore. Let's just take the passive call after. Now checking seems pretty weird. Of course he might have some total monster still, but I think I actually shove here. If I had really strong hand, I would probably play like that, and he actually had the nuts here. Pretty unfortunate. Well, let's take one more. Me having Jack 8 and him 10-8 and flop comes like that. Oh well. Oh well. Well, the thing was that even in that spot we weren't drawing dead, so if the 10 had come, we would have gotten bigger straight. Well, that was pretty questionable looking raise call. Well, triple trips. I would have just check called here because check raising that flop doesn't really make any sense, but now that he check back, we can definitely have some bluffs here as well, so let's go for decently sizable bet. And we actually improved flush. Well, I will be shoving here, and let's hope that he doesn't have like king jack of hearts or something like that. Kind of unfortunate that the flush came, because I think getting called would have been way more likely without that happening. At the same time, if I like checked here or something, I think he's going to be checking back really often. And this is one of those cards that we can try to double barrel. This time we get the desired outcome. quite small sizing on the bottom left for the 3-bet, but at the same time ace-10 off is going to be pretty nasty hand to continue. And going for light raise against the limp on the top left. And 10-9 suited will be open shove hand, but against that sizing we definitely don't try anything. Outside of snap folding. So what do the watchers think about? Should I have some sort of like graphics, like frames around the stream window, or some sort of logos or whatever? Or is it fine like this without any of those? Not going to rebuy anymore. I'm not even sure if there is pre-buy period anymore. Well, at least late registration has ended. Indeed, at this point, pocket doses will be sort of mandatory. Mandatory shoved here on the, and we run into nuts, but luck box nicely. On the MTT, my plan is to raise call, but King Jack suited plays so well post flop that I really don't mind to give them chance to call. And we are probably going to be behind, but I can't really fold this one with less than 20 big blinds up, raising from the bottom. And we almost get here. Oh well. Oh well. That's the end of that MTT. Well, I didn't want to see diamond here, but I'd still go for sort of blocker bet type of. We can still get some value from AX hands, often enough. And at the same time, if we check and he bets big, it's going to be pretty nasty spot. Yeah, I know about that. I actually have the zooming option as well, but the problem is that because I have it stacked, so that's one of the downsides which have been the reason I have been thinking about. Oh well, this is nasty. Top pair, but we have pretty low chance to improve and so on. So yeah, one option is that I make them a little smaller and we have them typed so that they don't overlap. So I think I then need to have the tables somewhat on the outer table at the same time. One option is that I make them a bit smaller and maybe they don't overlap. Well, they still do. They still do. Well, we have made small c-bet here, checked flop, and obviously going for river bet, but I think we don't want to make it huge because, well, that's not the sort of flop I necessarily want to see. Was trying to get funky with like 3-bet here. So what does it look like now in the so the problem is that it doesn't automatically like. I think it would be kind of fine if it would be like this, so they wouldn't overlap each other, but or at least much. Thing is that it doesn't make them automatically like this, so it would kind of need to be manually done every time. Again, this guy is bumping it. Oh well. Checked flop on the bottom left, and there is 2 aces, and I block king, queen, and so on. I have tough time to believe this guy. Of course he can have the AX, but... Oh, well, I really didn't think that would be the possibility even. That's like one of the last hands you want to be overall checking back. Well, that was surprising. That was surprising. No, that was wrong window. So yeah, this sort of window type would be quite okay, I think. And in here I could also actually use the zooming possibility. But they are now probably going to be wrong size overall. Well, it's not actually that bad. Yeah, I have the other screen on my... Have had two screens for quite a long time. It's still a bit more hassle compared that you have all the tables on the same window. Well, even manually moving these like that, it's not huge issue. I actually noticed that I don't have added delay now, so I forgot to add that, so there is now danger that someone would try to abuse my stream, but whatever. I think I think probably I will quit for a moment and restart the stream and add the delay, because it's pretty nasty to not have it, even though possibility that someone is abusing my stream is going to be pretty small, but yeah, I will quit the stream for a little while